Hello. Good afternoon, and welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi. I am your personal guide on this journey of growth. Give me 1 second. Let me go live on Instagram also. Okay. Instagram, what's happening? It seems not to be responding. I wonder why. As in, nothing is responding. Okay. All right. Okay. So we are live on both Instagram and Facebook this afternoon. How are you, everyone? Happy New Year once again. If I've not wished you happy day. Sorry about that on Facebook. I think we just went off for a few seconds. So Happy New Year, everyone. If I've not told you Happy New Year, I know I've seen some people this year, but some people probably not. Have not joined us this year. So Happy New Year. How are you doing? How is everything with you? Please do let me know on both Facebook and Instagram that you can hear me and that is clear. As you join, do let me know. So yes, this is Growth Habits with Ngozi, and I am your personal guide on this journey of growth. So we just finished our series on change management, and we have started a new series. We are starting a new series today, and we're going to be talking about financial planning and budgeting. You know, this is a new year. And you've made your plans, most probably. You've planned what you want to achieve this year. But most probably, there's a call that keeps coming in and it keeps cutting off my Facebook. Okay, so let me just confirm that I'm actually live on Facebook, because it has gone off and on a couple of times. I can't see that I am live. Okay, I think finally I'm live on Facebook. All right, so please do let me know if you can hear me clearly. I was telling us that we're starting a new series today on financial planning and budgeting. As I was saying, definitely you've made your plans for the year somehow, to some extent. You have made your plans, and probably there's some money involved somewhere. Probably there's some money involved somewhere in that planning. So, but have you truly planned for the money aspect? Or do you just expect that the money will come somehow? So we're going to be looking at that area. Sorry, let me confirm that I am being heard. A new series. All right, so yes, Facebook, we're good. Let me confirm Instagram also that we are being heard right over there. All right, so both are doing well. All right, so we're starting this series on financial planning and budgeting for this new year. It might seem, the year is already off. Why are we planning and budgeting now? But, we tried to deal with change management towards the end of the year, and now we're going to look at the money that you need to achieve your goals, the way to arrange your finances so that you don't wind up so that you don't wind up caught up in halfway and you don't have what you need in order to continue. So, and this first session, we're going to look at where you are right now in your finances before we now move on to how do you plan, how do you budget, and what have you. Comfort Oluwatosin, thank you for joining me. You're welcome. Please, today's session will be more interactive than other sessions have been. So I will be asking questions and I will be expecting some kind of response. So please be with me here. Stick with me. Stick with me. Oh, I forgot my water. Stick with me and we will make some good progress. Okay, so like I said, today we're going to be looking at where are you in your finances? What is your current state? We're going to be looking at how you can calculate your current state, your financial position, and then we will move on from there. Because you can't move forward if you have not known where you are. That is for sure. There's no way you can move forward until you know this is where I am. And then the next thing that you need to know where you're going also, but at least you need to understand your current position, where you are currently, before you can move forward to any other thing. So like today we are going to be looking at your current position. How do you assess it? How do you truly know where you stand financially? How can you calculate it? How do you assess that? How do you know where you are? So that is what we are going to be doing today. That is what we are going to do today. So definitely, I know that everyone wants to take charge of their finances. There's no one that wants their finances to be hanging, to be uncontrolled. I don't know anybody that wants that. So it's essential that you learn how to start your financial journey right. We all assume that to an extent we have I don't know about all, many of us think we have our finances, kind of taken care of to an extent. But if I ask you today, whether, you're a businesswoman, businessman, or you're just, you're a worker, whatever, if I ask you today, what is your financial position as at today? Can you truly say, do you have a grip of or a grasp of where you are financially? Can you say, oh, yes, this is my financial position. I'm in the red or I'm in the green. That is, I have enough to take care of my liabilities? Or would you struggle to give that assessment? That is what we're going to be looking at today. Truly, when you can get a reasonable grip on your finances, you can succeed in a whole lot more. True. You can succeed in a whole lot of things when your finances are under control. When you have a good grip on your finances, then your plans, honestly, the other plans you have for the year, you can have a better grip on them because you have the money that is needed to carry them out, or you have an idea where you're going to get the money that is needed to carry out all the plans and everything that you have for the year. So let me know. Let me ask if you're with me, if you were able to, if somehow some act of God, I don't know what else to call it, or some act of benevolence, someone gives you, for example, 1 million naira today. Someone just gifts you 1 million naira. Do you know what you would do with it? Or if you're not in Nigeria, say $10,000 or something. John Paul, welcome. I'm glad you joined me today on Facebook. So someone gifts you 1 million naira or $10,000 or $5,000. Let me not even go as far as 10,000. Someone gifts you $5,000 or 1 million naira. Do you have an idea what you will do with it? Do you have an idea of even the first thing that you would do with that money that you just received? Any idea whatsoever? Godfrey Uduabami, thank you for joining me. I can see you on Facebook. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. We are talking about financial planning and budgeting. And we are starting by looking at where you are, your current financial position. What is it? Do you know it? And then we are going to move on from there in the coming sessions. And I'm asking a question, first of all. Mazie Chika, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Happy New Year to you. And I can see you on Facebook. So I'm asking a question. Someone gifts you $5,000 or 1 million naira. Do you have an idea of what you would do with that money? What would be the first thing that you would do as you receive that money? What would be the first thing that you would do? Do you have any idea? Please share with me in the comments. I want to hear from you today. I want to know that you are here and that you're following me. So what would you do if you got that kind of money? It's free money. So it's not as if you're going to give the person back the money. Free money. Somehow, I don't know how it happened, but somehow you got 1 million naira or $5,000. What would be the first thing that you would do? Now, for someone like me, while I wait for your responses, for someone like me, okay, let's leave whether we will tithe or not tithe from it, because I know that is a very contentious topic for many people. But like I said, remove that aspect. We're not looking at whether you will tithe or you will not tithe on the money. What would be the first thing? Okay, for a Christian, you've removed tithe. Let's not discuss that aspect. What would be the first thing that you would do? For me, if someone gives me that kind of money, I will just keep that money first, honestly. I will leave it first. I will not even begin to spend it until I sit down and consider, what do I truly need? That's what I would do. I would sit down and look at, what are my most pressing needs? When I have figured out what are my most pressing needs, and I mean pressing, I don't mean I just want this. No. What are my most pressing needs? Once I figure out those, then I will begin to assign that money. Honestly, when I do this, I see people laugh at me a lot of times, but it helps me. I will bring out my phone, open my notepad, and then I begin to calculate whatever is that need. I'll write it down and the amount that is needed for it. The next one, I write it down. The next one, just like that. Recently, I don't even know what I was discussing with my son, and we were looking at this January, what do I need money for? And I was like, probably, because I was looking at all my ICANN subscriptions, dues, all those things. So I was like, probably would need more than 150,000 to settle all those dues, because I like to do that within the first few weeks of every year. That was what I said. 150,000 would settle all the dues, ICANN, what have you, SWAN, everything. But after saying that, because this is my habit, I went to my notepad, opened my notepad and began to type. ICANN Port Harcourt District Society dues, I wrote the amount. National ICANN, national dues, I wrote the amount. SWAN Port Harcourt dues, I wrote the amount. Then I remember that I have some other dues to pay. I have church, I have full gospel. No, I began to write out all the dues that I usually pay at the beginning of the year. And I found out that it was more than 150,000. Really? Yes, it was more than 150,000. It shocked me because I never realized it was that much. And I've paid it every year. Every year. Between the 1st and the 30th of January, I try to settle all these dues so that I don't like moving into the year and I'm owing anything. I don't like it. It just bothers me personally. It's only as I sat down and wrote it that all these years I've never wrote it down. I just know that I have those dues to pay. And as money comes in, I pay them. But this year, I sat down and began to write them down one by one. And I realized that they are more than 150,000. So if someone gifted me $5,000 or 1 million naira, the first thing I would do would be to sit down and write down, what do I truly need money for? And then begin to allocate that money. So share with me, what would you do if it is you? We're talking about financial planning and budgeting. And we're looking at your financial position, where you are right now, where you are currently. And if you're not able to sit down and know your needs, what you need money for, then you've already started having a problem this beginning of the year. Yeah, because you do need to, that is how you're going to know where you are. That's when you're going to know your current position. You have to be able to know, what do you need to spend money on, not want. We're talking of needs now. So you can still share with me as we go on. If you got $5,000 today, right now, what would be the first thing you would do with it? Or 1 million naira, what would be the first thing that you would do with it? Okay, welcome Regina Obiagu. Welcome Joy Edward. I'm glad you joined me today. Happy New Year to you. If we have not spoken this year, Happy New Year. We are talking about financial planning and budgeting. This, for the next, I think, 4 sessions, we should deal with financial planning and budgeting. All right, so we're looking at, where are you? Because, that's the beginning. That's the best place to start when we want to do our financial plan for the year. Where are you today? So we're going to be looking at step 1. Yeah, this is really step 1 of doing your financial plan. That is assessing your current financial situation. Knowing exactly where you stand financially. Knowing what will I do next now that I know where I stand. That is what we're going to do today. And like I said, I want it to be more interactive. I need it to be more interactive because I need to know where you are, where your mind is on this topic. Then we will work from there. So how do I assess my current financial situation? How do I know where I stand? How do I know this is where I am? First of all, when you do this assessment of where you are, of your current financial situation, it helps you know where your money is going. The day I did this for the first time, I was shocked at what I spent money on. I was shocked. I didn't realize some of the things my money was going to. If I hadn't sat down to do this, what I'm going to teach us today, knowing my current financial position, I wouldn't have known that there are some things I'm spending money on that I have no business spending money on. Truly. So it's good. It helps you know where your money is truly going. It helps you know if there are leaks in your spending, it helps you discover the place, leaks you can cover. Because at times, we spend money really on things that we have no business spending money on. A happy New Year to you, Matt. Yes, wishing you all the best this year also. And it helps you understand whether you're building wealth or you're just accumulating debt. This is why it's essential. This is why it's important. Some people do it December. They don't do it January. Like, I actually did my own December, not now. But it helps. You will know whether you're building wealth or you're just accumulating debt. Knowing your current financial position, this is what it does for you. I don't know how many of us are workers, and it feels to you that as soon as you collect your salary is gone. It flies through the window. and it is gone. If you have ever felt like that, you definitely need to do this assessment of your current financial position, because it will help you find where that your salary is going, and it will help you plug any leaks you discover. It will help you. So if you have ever experienced this, or even as a business person, it looks like you're making money, you're seeing yourself making sales, but where is the money? You can't see it, because you have not sat down and assessed your current position financially and discovered, exactly where your money is going. I also remember that there was, will I call them a client? I'm not even sure if I should call them a client, but I went to this company, and I was asked to just talk to them. And I decided to just do a spot assessment of their financial statements, which they had given to me. And I explained to them that you need to look at where you're spending money really, and then ask the questions. And so I just picked one thing, because I looked at their statement for a year. They did it month by month. And the first thing that just caught my eye was how much they're spending on fuel, on car repairs. So I asked them, did you buy any new cars in this year? They said no. Are your cars very old? They said not really. So why are your fueling and maintenance expenses increasing month on month? They had not realized it, because they've never really done that assessment to check. They never really looked at, month by month, how much are we spending on this? So you see, this is them doing their own financial position assessment, their current financial position, and they discovered a leak. So you can do the same thing, and you will discover leaks, and you will discover how to plug them. You will see whether you're spending money unnecessarily, and then how do you stop spending that money unnecessarily? Okay, so that is what we are going to do. But some key terms and definitions that we need to know as we are doing this assessment. The first thing we should understand is our net worth. What is your net worth? What does it mean when you're looking at your net worth? Because that is what this financial position thing does. When you're assessing your current financial position, you're trying to find your net worth. That is the value of everything you own, all that is yours. Then you take away everything you're owing anybody. And that gets you your financial position. That lets you know your net worth. That lets you know, what am I truly worth, in quotes. So the net worth is just the value of everything you own. I'm trying to be as simple as possible. I don't want to use too many technical accounting or finance words. It's not going to help you if I use them. So I'm going to try and explain things in as simple a manner as possible. So what is your net worth? It's simply the value of everything you own, every single thing. Then you subtract from that everything that you're owing. Then you will know your net worth. Yeah, so in simple terms, that is what your net worth is. Then your assets. What are your assets? These are the things that puts money in your pocket. I think that's a very simple way to look at it. Your assets are the things that put money in your pocket. The money you have in the bank, the savings you have. Do you have any investments? Do you have any property whatsoever? Those are things that put money in your pocket, your assets. Then your liabilities. The things that takes money out of your pocket. What are those things that you spend money on that takes money out of your pocket? Like I said, this is a very simple way of looking at it. We know that that's something that are just expenses and not necessary. They're still liabilities, but we are putting all of them together now for the purposes of this, our assessment of our current financial position. Anything that takes money out of your pocket is a liability. Anything that puts money in your pocket is an asset. And your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. And it should be that it will be positive. It should be that your assets are more than your liabilities. The things that put money in your pocket should be more than the things that are taking money out of your pocket. But like I told us, if you don't sit down and do this assessment, you won't realize that possibly your liabilities are more than your assets and your net worth is negative. So, once again, it is important. But if I ask us now, just on a quick question, do you think your net worth will be positive or do you think it will be negative? Just a quick, because I've told you what is an asset, I've told you what are your liabilities. Just with a quick assessment, quick calculation in your head, would your net worth be positive or would your net worth be negative? Without doing the full work of sitting down and writing it, what do you think your net worth would be? Very important to assess this. So please let me know in the comments what you think your net worth would be, given that your assets are anything that puts money in your pocket. And then your liabilities are everything that takes money out of your pocket. And your net worth is those assets minus your liability, the things you own minus the things you owe. Just right off your head, what do you think your net worth would be? Would it be negative or would it be positive? I know for some of us it will be negative. For some, it would be positive. But you need to know it. You need to know whether it's negative or positive. Okay, so please let me know. I'm still waiting to see some responses. Let me know what you think your net worth would be. I'm not judging you. What's that thing they say? We listen, we don't judge. Yes, I'm listening, I'm not judging. If you say your net worth will be negative, it's fine. If you think, because it might actually not be by the time you sit down and do the assessment. But if you think it will be negative, it's fine. Just let me know in the comment section. Mine was negative at the point, so there's no shame in it, really. The shame is in knowing that it is negative and doing nothing about it. That is where I would say you should be ashamed of yourself. But that you have a negative net worth, as mine would be negative for sure. Oh, really? Why would it be negative? Well, let me not ask you directly. But it's good you think it will be negative. You'll be surprised that when you sit down and check, it is not negative. This is what I want us to understand, because right off the bat, you will think, I'm not really making much. I don't really have much that I own. Remember, your assets is everything you own. Then your liabilities is everything you owe. And at first sight, it might look like, it's negative because you don't think you own a lot. But you see that you're spending a lot. Money is leaving your pockets. But when you now sit down and do the assessment properly, you might be surprised that it is not negative. Okay, so we're going to look at each of these things, the assets, the liabilities. What could they possibly be? How do you begin to list it out and then calculate your net worth? So how do I calculate those my assets? You can start generally with your income. What puts money in your pocket? Are you working? Are you doing business? What actually puts money in your pocket? Do you have more than one source of income? Because in doing this assessment, that's another thing. In doing this assessment of your current financial position, you need to look at all your sources of income and all your sources of expenditure, of every way that money is going out of your pocket. You have to look at all. You can't leave any out. Because we do get into that danger of either we forget some of our sources of income, some ways that money come into our pocket because we're looking at it. For example, somebody gives you money. Maybe your children have placed you on a salary, in quotes. Every month they give you some money and you don't consider that Many times we don't consider that as money coming in. We don't look at it as an asset per se. But it is for the purposes of calculating your current financial position. That is a source of money coming into your pocket. So you have to consider that. And then when we're looking at our liabilities, many a times we also don't consider some little things that, they don't seem serious. So we don't consider them as money leaving our pockets. So in doing this assessment, you have to look at everything. Everything. Is it that you buy credit to put on your phone? You consider it. Is it that you give money to someone? You have to consider it. They're all ways of money. That's why I use that definition. It's all encompassing. Assets, money coming into your pocket. Everything and anything that puts money in your pocket, we are looking at it as an asset for purposes of this, our assessment of our current financial position. And anything making money leave your pocket is considered a liability for the purposes of this assessment. Like I said, we're not being technical with it. It doesn't help anybody if I begin to go accounting techniques. Just know it this way. When you're able to understand it this way and you apply it to your current life now, you will know whether your net worth is positive or negative. So, how many sources of income do you have? How many of us have more than one source of income? Let me know in the comments. You have more than one source of income. You're not depending on only salary, for example. Or if you have one business, it's not just that business that's bringing you money. You have more than one source of income. We know that we are told that we're supposed to have multiple streams of income. Some people say it's a minimum of 3. And truly, to survive these days, you definitely need more than one source of income. You definitely need more than one, because one doesn't ever seem to be enough anymore, especially with the way our inflation rate is galloping. So, do you have more than one source of income? Look at all of it. Look at all of them. Salary, business, investments, everything. Look at them together. Calculate all of them together. Those are your assets. Those are your income sources. Those are the things that are putting money into your pocket. So take a minute. Like today is very, 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 very interactive, practical. We are not just talking. As I'm talking, I want you to be doing it where you are. If you have a piece of paper, bring it out. You want to use your phone, bring it out your phone, whatever you want to use, but do this assessment. It will truly, truly help you. So list out all your sources of income. Uzo Koli, welcome. Thank you for joining me on Facebook. So assess your income. What are the things that put money in your pocket? Like I said, you'll be surprised. Some of us will be surprised that we have more than one source of income. But because we were looking at it that this is not work per se, but it's putting money in your pocket. So sit down, check it, calculate it in a month. Or let's just do in a month. What are all the things that generally put money into your pocket? Assess them. Then list out all the things that take money out of your pocket. All the expenses. Whether they are fixed, they are variable, they are discretionary, whatever. Everything that takes money out of your pocket. Do you pay rent? Okay, for those that live like in America, are you on a mortgage? Do you pay your mortgage monthly? Do you pay your utilities? These are the ones that we call fixed, because whether you're earning money or not, you will pay these ones. Your landlord doesn't want to know that you're not working. Your landlord does not want to know that your business is crumbling. Your rent is due at the end of the month. For those that pay monthly rent, for those also that have a mortgage, These things have to be paid. Utility, you have to pay your NEPA bill. For those of us in Nigeria, those that are outside of Nigeria, water, gas, electricity, you need to pay all those bills. They are not dependent on whether you have money or not. That's the funny thing about these fixed expenses. They are not dependent on your ability to make an income. Whether you're making money or not, these things must be paid. That's why we call them fixed expenses in accounting, because for example, in a business, whether your business is making profit or not, you're paying the rent on where your office is located. The landlord is not asking you whether your business is making a profit. So these are fixed expenses. Whether an income is coming in or not, these must be paid. So you always have to find a source to pay these ones. They're fixed. Then we have the variable ones, groceries, food, the fuel you put in your car. These are variable because you don't always have to drive your car. You can take a bus, take a taxi or something. So these are the ones that are variable. I'm not saying you will eat, yes, for sure, but if there's no money to eat, are you going to steal to eat? So that's why food is a variable expense. We are not saying that you shouldn't eat or that eating is variable, but you can vary what you spend on it. You can decide I'm not eating because I don't have money. But you have to pay your rent, whether you have money or not. You pay your rent unless you're going to move out of that place. Do we see the difference between a fixed and a variable expense? Then we have what is called discretionary. This is the one that truly you must not do. You don't have to eat out. You don't have to go to the movies. So you don't have to actually buy some clothes. You can manage the clothes that you have. You don't have to spend extra money on clothes. Or even if you do have to spend money on clothes, there are some kind of clothes you must not spend money on. They're discretionary. You have a choice whether to do them or not. Unlike even your variable expenses, some of your variable expenses, you might not have an absolute choice not to do them, like food. You can't starve for so long. You can only say, I'm not eating for so long. But you can manage the clothes you have for quite a long time. You must not buy that designer cloth or shoe or bag or wig. These are discretionary. You must not go out to the movies. You must not dine out. You can eat your food in your house. So these are what we call discretionary expenses. Remember that what we are trying to do. Welcome, Anne Kweme. Welcome, Grace Omoke. What we are trying to look at today is you doing an assessment of your current financial position. For the next 4 sessions, we are looking at financial planning and budgeting. This is a new year. Let's not fall into the same rut we are falling into every year, where we can't tell how much we have spent. We can't tell whether we are doing well financially. We can't tell our health, our financial health. We can't continue on that. So we're starting off the year by assessing, where are we financially? What is our net worth? What are all the sources that put money into our pocket? And then what are all the sources that take money out of our pocket? So that we can discover if there are leaks. We can discover if there are things we need to stop. There are expenditures we need to stop right away. Some that we need to stop in time. And we also need to, by doing this, we also know whether we need to increase our sources of income. Because sometimes our problem is not the spending. Sometimes is that we don't have enough income. But see the catch-21, as they say in this. When your income increases, when your sources of putting money in your pocket increases, the natural human tendency is for the things that are taking the money out to increase also. And we must know this. This is one thing that we used to the word I want to use, okay, we use it to deceive ourselves. Your income increases, and inadvertently, without thinking about it, your expenditure increases. It's almost like a natural human tendency. All this while, my total income in a month is 100,000. And I manage and keep my expenses to say 80,000 every month. That is because I must pay rent. I must, put food on the table. So I just manage and keep my expenses to 80,000. The day my salary increases to 200,000, my expenses almost automatically increase to maybe now 180,000 because I have 200,000 now. But when you do this assessment, when you sit down and you calculate what is coming in, what is going out, you would discover that some of those things you're spending money on, they are not necessary. They are not necessary. And you can remove them. You can plug up those holes that are eating up at your income. But you see, something you do and you tell yourself the truth about is not the one you come in and you begin to, make excuses for some of the expenses. The fixed expenses we can take and say you can't really change them too much. But even your fixed expenses, for example, rent, if living in a 3-bedroom house is becoming too expensive for you, move to a 2-bedroom. Come down. It's nobody's business. Really. This thing we used to do so that people would think we are meeting up, please forget it. It doesn't help. It's not helping you. It's not helping me. The only person that needs to see that you're meeting up is yourself, not even the next person. So if moving from a 3-bedroom to a 2-bedroom is what is going to help you, please do it. Do it. Okay, so we're looking at our expenses. We looked at our income. We're looking at our expenses, the things that take money out of your pocket. I never realized until I did this assessment some years back. I never realized how much I spent on credit on my phone and data for my phone. I did not realize how much it was. I just paid the money, I just made the expense, and I didn't realize how much, such a big chunk of the money I make every month goes to data, goes to credit on my phone. It didn't even cross my mind. And I got into this situation because initially my company was paying for my phone. They were paying for the credit, everything. At the beginning of each month, I don't even know how it's done. The money is paid to MTN. I have credits, unlimited, everything. And when I stopped working for that company and moved to the next company, it was no longer an automatic thing. They were now giving me money to pay my, for my phone. It was like part of my salary. And so, because I had kind of adjusted to the level at which they were paying when a company was paying it, I was already comfortable with that level of making calls, having data on my phone. I just continued it unconsciously. I just continued it. Now, I did not take into cognizance initially that the amount now being paid into my salary as my phone expenses is not up to what the former company was paying to MTN without my ever seeing it. It didn't even click. And I was here spending and spending on MTN, credit and data. So until the day I sat down and did this assessment of my net worth and began to write out. See, there's something writing out these things does to you. I began to write out my expenses one by one. I spend so much on fueling my car. I spend so much on phone. I spend so much, and I listed all these things out. I spend so much to eat. By the time I listed these things out, I saw the huge amount I was spending on phone. Phone. Nobody told me. Sense jumped into my head automatically. Automatically. And I cut down the phone expenses. I didn't die. Nothing happened. I still remained in contact with the people I needed to be in contact with. I still had data on my phone. But I now did not do any unnecessary phone calls. I did not put data on my phone and then just be scrolling through Instagram. No, I didn't do those anymore. Because I know that in a month, this is all I'm spending on data. This is all I'm spending on putting credit on this phone. I've seen it. This is how much the company is paying me. I don't have to spend all on phone and data. So I made the adjustments. But truly, if I didn't sit down and do this assessment, I wouldn't realize how much. Because I was just dishing out the money, maintaining that level I thought, I had. But at that point, the company was paying it. I wasn't even seeing how much they were paying. I wasn't really seeing it. It wasn't coming out of my pocket. It was just paid to MTN at the beginning of every month, and my own was to make calls and have data. And, so you see, doing this assessment of your financial position is important. It helps you discover places that you're spending money that you have no business spending money on. So calculate your income, all the things that's bringing money into your pocket. Then list out your expenses. All the things that's taking money out of your pocket, all of them, list them all. Take time, list every single thing. When you have done this, you now subtract all those expenses from all your income sources. Then you know whether your net worth is positive or negative. For some of us that initially felt our net worth be negative, you might be surprised that is actually positive. And for some of us who thought our net worth was positive, like when I did that assessment some years back, I actually thought at the point where I was doing it that I would have a positive net worth. I was so sure. Because I was making money. Where I was working, I was well paid. So it's not as if, they were not paying me. I was well paid. But the same way I was well paid is the same way I was spending well. Spending everything. It was going. Before the month ends, I'm looking for cash. But after I did this assessment and realized the holes that existed in my expenses, realized the places that I was spending money that I had no business then spending that money, and did my best to plug those holes, my net worth was now positive. And then another thing it did for me personally was I was now thinking of ways to make money. What else could I do to increase the money coming into my pocket? I now began to invest more on such things. So please, it is essential as we are starting this year, do this assessment. Sit down with yourself. Calculate all the ways money come into your hands. Calculate all the ways money goes out. And come up with your net worth. We are not, like I repeat, we're not being technical about this now. We're not trying to be accounting, accurate per se. We're trying to be accurate as per what we are spending money on and how much is coming into our hands. It will help you in this year and going forward. If I do it at the end of each year, do the assessment. Every quarter, reassess and even see how far you are going. One thing I started doing while I was working, because I had done this assessment and seen where my money was going, once my salary comes, I sit down fueling for the month should take me so and so amount. I removed that money physically and I put it in an envelope. That was before we became kind of, very cashless somehow. I removed the money for fuel, put it in an envelope. So for this month, I'm not spending more than this to fuel my car. I remove the one I need to eat, my feeding for that month. Since I go to work, I have to take lunch in the office. How much do I intend to spend on this? I remove that money, put in another envelope. People used to say, accounting, you're doing akagom. I was not doing any akagom. I was being prudent with my finances. I was being, plugging the holes I saw in my finances. I had to do what was needed to ensure that I don't go back to a situation where my net worth was negative. And yet I'm making money. So it's not a matter of I'm not making money. I was making money. I was well paid. It's not even later on when, after I took a break and then I went back to work, I just took a very big cut in salary because I just wanted to be going out somewhere. It's not even at that time. At this time, I was well paid. I was well paid by any assessment. And yet, my net worth was negative. Can you imagine that? So we need to sit down and assess this. So important. For me, it was a lifesaver. For me, it was a lifesaver. It was a lifesaver. Because I imagine what would have been my case if I hadn't done this. Because a point came where I was not working for I think it was 2 years plus. I was not working. No income was coming in. It's not even now that I'm not working, but at least I'm doing like my mentorship. I'm doing some work for people. Nothing. I was not doing any other thing. I was not working and I was not doing any other thing. So how did I survive those 2 years plus? It's because I was able to have sense after doing that assessment to be keeping money aside. It's that money I kept aside that kept me going. Almost for the whole 2 years, actually. Almost. It didn't quite make it. But at least for the first, let me say for this first 7-8 months of not working, nobody knew I was not working. As in, I was still meeting up with all my expenses. If there's anything to be paid anywhere, I will still meet up with my own contributions. So a lot of people didn't even realize I was not working. Imagine if I had not done this assessment. Imagine if I had not sat down and figured out my financial position and then did the hard work of plugging up the gaps I saw. Imagine what would have happened. Maybe after 1 month, at most, maybe 2 months, I would have nothing. Because the job that I left then did not come with a pension. So it's not as if every month, nothing. I was only given, I think, my 1 month salary as I was leaving, an extra 1 month salary, I believe. So I had that month I worked and then 1 extra month. That was what I had as I left that work. So at most 2 months, that's what it would have lasted me based on my normal way of spending money. Okay, yes, maybe now I've saved fuel costs because I'm not going to work every day. But how much was that really? So it's essential that we do this assessment of our current financial position. Where are you financially? What are you spending money on? How are you making this money? What are you spending it on? I will later on, we'll talk about, because now I'm giving just a general assessment of assets, anything that brings money into our pocket, and a general assessment of liabilities, anything that takes money out of our pocket. But do we know that things like vehicles, they're not really assets? They are more liabilities. But many of us, we think our car is an asset. Your car is not an asset because even as an asset, in quote, is depreciating. Each day, the value of that asset is reducing. So why count it really as an asset? It's really not putting any money in your pocket. Rather, it's taking money out of your pocket. Unless you put your car to do Uber or something and it's bringing in some money. But as long as it's just the car you're driving every day, it doesn't count as your asset because it's not putting any money into your pocket. That is why I use that definition for an asset, something that is putting money into your pocket. So even really your house where you live, the house you're living, not the house that you bought and you're renting, or the property you bought that you rent, or that is increasing in value. That house that you even live in, most times, is a source of taking money out. It's an asset and a liability. See, you really need to sit down and do this assessment properly. Because many of us, when we are listing our assets, we list the house we are living in. Because house property, let me not even say house per se, property does not depreciate in value. It actually increases in value. It appreciates over time. But that house that you're living in is not putting money in your pocket currently. It's actually taking money out of your pocket currently. So you have to remember that even though it's an asset, it's also a liability. Don't forget that. Because many of us, when we own a house, we say we are no longer paying rent. Yes, you're not paying rent, but there are some things you are spending money on from that house that if you didn't have that house, you wouldn't spend that money. Remember those things as you're assessing your liabilities. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm drawing our attention to. So that we don't have a false financial position where we think our financial position is positive, our net worth, when it's actually negative. Okay, so once you have done this, I don't know if any of us are doing it as I'm saying, because remember I said today we are being practical. As I'm talking, bring out your paper, bring out your pen, bring out your phone, bring out your notepad, whatever you use, and do the assessment and figure out whether your net worth is positive or negative. Do the assessment. Calculate everything you own that is putting money in your pocket. Then you take away everything you owe, everything that's taking out money from your pocket. Once you have once you have done this analysis, then you will know whether your net worth is positive or negative. The next step is to look for how to turn that negative, if it is negative, to a positive. How do you plug up the holes that you have discovered? And if it's already on a positive, how do you maintain it? Don't get into that false, okay, I'm doing well, my net worth is positive. How do you maintain it? What do you need to do to ensure that it does not slide into the negative? These are the things that we need to look at. These are the things that will help us. This, like I said, this is just step one in our financial planning and budgeting series. If you don't know where you are now, how do you know where you're going to? How do you know where you're going to if you don't know where you are currently? So it's very essential to understand your current position. Where are you? Are you spending more than you're earning? Why? What is making you spend more than you're earning? Where can you plug up the holes? Where can you cut back on your expenses? Do the hard work now and enjoy later. Do the hard work now. So where can you cut back? What things are you spending money on that is really, really not essential that you spend this money? I gave the example of my own phone. And since I cut back, I've never needed to call someone and I couldn't. I was still able to make the phone calls that were absolutely needed, absolutely essential, even a few that were, frivolities, let me call it that. I was still able to do all that, though I cut back on how much I'm spending on putting credit on my phone. Our human mind has a way of adjusting. So when I know that I have 50,000 to spend on calls, I call, whether it's necessary or not. I use the phone. But when I now know that all I have is 30,000, I will reduce. So, are you spending more than you're earning? Do you need to increase your sources of income? Do you need to increase how much money is coming into your pockets? Do you need to cut down on expenses? This is what these assessments will help you do, so that you know the one that you need to do. If you need to increase your income, you increase your sources of income. You look for ways to do it. I mean, it's not automatic, it's not easy, but it is doable. It is. Or do you need to begin to cut down on what you're spending money on? Then do it. It might be a bit painful initially. A bit. It might even be a whole very, very, very painful initially, but ultimately, it is for the best. Ultimately, you will enjoy it. When I was now not working and I was still able to meet all my basic needs, I was happy. I was proud of myself. Let me even just say happy. I was proud of myself that I was able to do this. But the time that I was doing the cuts of the things that I needed to, cut down on, it was not funny for me. It was not funny. But it had to be done. I even put automatic standing instruction on my account. I think that instruction is even still there on that account, though the account is not as active as it used to be. I had a standing instruction on my current account where my salaries were being paid, that at the end of each month, a certain amount is moved to my savings. It's still there. I know it's still there because once in a while, when money is paid into that account, they just take that standing instruction, sticks, because I've never put a stop to it, and the money is moved to my savings. So I had to do this because I know that if I had left myself, maybe I would not be able to save that money. So I had to do it in such a way that I had no choice than to save that money, because I saw that I needed to have a savings. When I was doing this, it was not fun because it reduced how much money I now had available. In fact, once my salary hits the account, within 2 days, that money has been moved to my savings. Gone. I can't go and get it unless I go to the bank. And who wants to be going to the bank? Unless the thing is very, very important. I'm not going to go all the way to the bank and suffer through standing and in line and all those drama of banking. No. So the money was safe, basically. So do the hard work. Analyze your habits, analyze your spending habits, analyze your sources of income, and know what you need to cut back on. Know what you need to also increase. Okay, so having looked at all that, let me ask us to do a little bit of an assignment. As I said, today is an interactive, practical session. Now, for the next 7 days, track every dollar, every naira, every kobo, every cent that you spend. Write it down. For the next 7 days, every money that leaves your account for whatever purpose, write it down. You know that see this write down, oh God, see this writing down every money that leaves your account, it will open up some cans of worms for you. You will see monies that you're spending you did not realize you were spending. So this is our assignment. As I'm giving it to you, I'm giving it to myself also. I usually do this because when I told somebody one day that if I go out in a day and I come back in the evening, I will tell you every single money I spent, and then I will see the change left in my pocket, and it would agree. It's discipline. It's discipline. It's not that I'm akagom. It has nothing to do with akagom. We know. It's not that I don't like to spend money. Who does not really like to spend money? It's that I like to be accountable for every money that I spend. So our assignment, this for the next 7 days, keep a record of all the money you spend. Every money that you spend. When we swipe cards, sometimes we don't realize what we are spending. Be conscious and record every money you're spending for the next 7 days. Then at the end of the 7 days, look at it and assess where your money is going. You can continue it after 7 days, but just do it for this 7 days. And when you look at it and see what your spending habits are, try to identify one habit there that you can change. Try to identify one thing that maybe either you will reduce your expenditure on or you cut off completely. That is our assignment. By the time we come back next week, Tuesday, I want to know that we have done our assignment. I want to know that we were able to identify at least one habit that we needed to change, one thing that we needed to stop spending money on or reduce how much we spent on it. So I don't know if we have any questions. Anyone has any comments on today's session? Just checking on Instagram if there's any comments. None. If you have any comments, any questions that you want to ask, this is the time, because we are coming to the end of this session. Like I said, this is just the beginning. Excuse me. Ooh, sorry. So this is just the beginning. We're just starting. And when you do this assessment, don't be overwhelmed by it. Don't feel that, you have to be perfect in it. Don't feel that you have to do it exactly perfectly. Just relax with it. And what is most important is not just that you sit down and figure out your incomes and your expenses, is what you will do next. What are your next steps? That is what is most important in this assignment. Because yes, you can figure out, my incomes are this and I'm spending so much, and then you don't do anything about it. Either way, either to find a way to increase the income if need be, or find a way to reduce the expenses. If you do nothing, it was an exercise in futility. So the important thing is, what are your next steps? I hope that I've been able to help someone today, this afternoon. I hope I've been able to break down your financial position, being able to know it to a level that makes sense to each and every one of us. Next week, we'll look at, next week we're looking at how to set goals, to set proper financial goals. I think that's what is next week. So remember to make today and every day count, be valuable and grow. And see you all right back here, Facebook Live, Instagram Live on Growth Habits with Ngozi. We're looking at financial planning and budgeting this season. Let me call it this season. I think for the next 4 sessions, we'll look at financial planning and budgeting. So see you all once again next week. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you, even those that are going to watch this replay. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you. If I've not said Happy New Year to you. Yes, we're in a new year and we intend to start off this year well, doing all that we need to do to ensure that this year, at least financially, first of all, is a year that we'll be happy with and will not be struggling with our finances. So thank you once again for joining me. Oh, yes. Have you joined any of our mentorship programs, group, individual? The link, the seller link, should have popped up as you joined this live. If not, I will still put it up in the comments. Okay, another Happy New Year. I'll still put it up in the comments. Look for one of our mentorship programs and join. The seller link is there. Click on the link. It will take you to our store and you can see all that we have available. Select the one that best fits you, that best suits you, and make the payments. Then you will get the link to join the WhatsApp group where the mentorship will be happening. We have 3 months, 6 months, 1 year mentorship, group and individual. We have the basic mentorship for individual. We have a premium mentorship for individuals. Just click on that seller link and select the one that best suits you. We also have our one-on-one clarity sessions. You just want to, talk out your goals for the year. 1 hour is also on that seller link. Click on it, make the payments. It will lead you to a calendar and you book a session on the time that is convenient for you, and then we'll take it from there. All right, so thank you once again for joining me. It's always a pleasure sharing this 1 hour with each and every one of us. It is truly an honor, and I don't take it for granted that you choose to spend this 1 hour with me. You could do anything with it, but here you are. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for those that watch the replay. You didn't have the 1 hour now, but you were still able to find the 1 hour some other time to watch and to share your thoughts with me. Remember, please let's do our assignments that we have been given today. I want to see in the comments that you are going to do it or that you have done it. And next week, we'll look at what we were able to come up with after doing the assignments. So thank you all once again for joining me. It's always a pleasure. As I said, see you once again next week, Tuesday, 12 noon, right here on Growth Habits with Ngozi. Bye.